If you live in or around Glens Falls and you've gone to a local festival or checked out a new business or discovered an emerging artist in the area, there's a good chance that you've seen the work of the woman who basically sells Glens Falls. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hi, I'm Amy Feiereisel. It's Friday, January 9th. First up, since the North Star Health Alliance announced it was on the brink of closure last month, the healthcare consortium has managed to meet its payroll obligations. But the group, which manages hospitals in Carthage and Ogdensburg, says it still needs reimbursement from the state and has just been barely getting by. The North Star Health Alliance's financial quagmire is centered around the former Claxton Hepburn Hospital in Ogdensburg, which has been undergoing a transformation into a critical access hospital and a separate psychiatric hospital. That restructuring has been years in the making, with the state's involvement and support. But North Star Health Alliance officials said administrative barriers and reimbursement delays on the state's end has put them over $200 million in the hole and in a precarious financial position. The state has disputed that account, blaming delayed payments on North Star failing to provide basic information about how state money was being used. North Star said it barely made its $5.5 million payroll on December 12th, and that it took community donations, vendor changes, and management deferring some of their own pay to do it. 2 weeks later, a state payment through the Vital Access Provider Assurance Program allowed the group to make payroll again. Today is another payday, and North Star officials told WWNY-TV that it's making payroll on its own with no state help due to a small increase in collections of money owed to hospitals. But a more concrete resolution may be on the horizon. Officials also say they have a face-to-face meeting scheduled with members of the State Department of Health in Albany next week, where they hope to find a path forward. A new program at Clarkson University is training young adults for jobs to make homes more energy efficient. Catherine Wheeler reports the goal is to build up the workforce in response to climate change.
The program at Clarkson University is called Home Energy Awareness Training, or CU HEAT. It's self-paced and trains 16 to 24-year-olds with a focus on including certain populations like veterans, low-income, and formerly incarcerated people. Program manager Alex French says there are a few different tracks participants can take,
including home energy auditor. They'll learn how that works, what to look for.
French says that's a job that evaluates the ways you can improve energy efficiency in your home.
The second pathway would be for a weatherization technician. So learning about how insulation gets installed, learning about air leakage through a house and how to prevent that air leakage.
The third pathway trains participants to become HVAC technicians. The program is free for participants and is funded through a nearly $900,000 grant from the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. The goal of CU HEAT is to grow the workforce around home energy efficiency. French says it's essentially learning how to prepare our homes for the way climate change will affect them.
There's a strong need for it in the North Country where we have cold winters. There's a lot of low-income houses up here, substandard houses that have air moving through them, and that air, every time it exchanges outside air into the inside air, then you have to reheat all that on this constant running basis.
The program has already graduated 6 participants, with dozens more who are currently enrolled. Over 3 years, the program aims to train 120 people. As part of the grant, it's required to place 80% of them into jobs, internships, or apprenticeships. French says that's good because there's a lot of room to grow these fields. More people are looking for ways to save money and be more sustainable around their homes.
Based on the contractors we've been working with in Malone and Watertown and hearing from them, they're all eager to scale up. There's not enough people trained on these things. I think there's so much work in our area when it comes to weatherization and heating that, the job market is kind of wide open.
French says that should encourage people to jump in and get trained. He says there are a lot of pros to getting into this career field.
You can make your own schedule if you go this route, and you can make a lot of money if you go this route. And in the meantime, you're going to be working with your hands.
French says a plus is also being an active part of climate change mitigation. Once they finish the program, which is a combination of online and in-person training, participants will get a $500 stipend. Applications for CU HEAT are accepted on a rolling basis. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio in Potsdam.
does it take to start a successful small business here in the North Country? In today's North Country at Work story, the answer is being really good at putting yourself out there. We head to Glens Falls, where one woman has built a marketing company out of, quote, tooting her own horn. Anna Williams-Bergen reports.
In the early 2000s, Kate Austin was living in Glens Falls, making art like it was her job. During a class on how to promote your own art, a teacher's quote sparked something in her.
He said, even if you're the one going around telling everybody about you, people will go, oh, I've heard of that person.
Austin took that idea and ran with it.
And so for my first art show in Glens Falls, I went around and put up a bunch of posters that was like, art show by artist Kate Austin. And until that point, I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. It wasn't like something that I was. It was an aspirational thing. So I went around and told everybody I was an artist. And before you knew it, I was president of North Country Arts.
A few years later, Austin was quitting her day job and trying to figure out what to do next. Someone told her she'd be a good businesswoman, so she started trying to come up with business ideas.
I know that artists often want to just make art, and the whole selling your art thing isn't really up everybody's alley. So I was like, well, I'll help artists with all that other stuff.
Kate Austin founded her company, Advocate, in October of 2010. She started out doing just about anything people would pay her for, from QuickBooks data entry to putting business cards out at coffee shops. Her motto, that horn of yours ain't gonna toot itself. To help get her business off the ground, she took a class called Startup 80K at SUNY Adirondack.
Before I left the class, I had clients. People were like, wait, you do graphic design? I was like, oh, is that a thing you need? I mean, I was always just like up all night on my computer, like nerding out, like making angsty poetry websites, and like it was really cool that somebody was like, oh, you have taught yourself something that I could use.
It turns out a lot of things Austin had picked up through life, from coding to graphic design, made her a great businesswoman. And she was good at marketing a lot more than just art.
From my vacuum sales training, I learned some crazy marketing stuff. I worked for 4 years in a polytetrafluoroethylene factory doing their customer service while I was getting my degree. So there's a lot of like life experience along the way that just kind of ties back in.
Today, Austin calls Advocate a real grown-up business. They offer web design, marketing advice, PR help, and a lot more to all kinds of businesses, from a fair trade, eco-conscious toy company to a hydraulic hose manufacturer. She's the creative brain making sure you've heard of local businesses, festivals, and artists. It didn't happen all at once. For years, Austin couldn't get herself to bring on more help, even as her business grew.
It's a huge step. And it's one I struggled with. I didn't hire for 9 years. Just did it all myself. I really didn't trust anybody. It was so much that Advocate is me, and how do you teach other people to be you? Like, that doesn't work.
Austin leaned on the local business community for advice and brought in people whose talents complemented hers. 15 years in, she has 3 employees, interns, the whole kit and caboodle. Austin says she's been able to shape Advocate so that she's doing the kind of work she wants to do, in the way she wants to do it.
It's creative. It's never the same. I have to do 20,000 things in a day, which is lovely for my ADHD, and be really involved in the community. It just ticks all the boxes for me.
And that's because she built it herself. For North Country Public Radio's North Country at Work project, I'm Anna Williams-Bergen in Glens Falls.
You can find more news all the time at ncpr.org. Music today is by Wyatt LaMarche of Canton and the Wickmore Jazz Trio of Plattsburgh. I'm Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.